My wife played collegiately. She coached collegiately, coached in the WNBA. So I've come from that perspective where I've seen it and I try to pay attention to what's going on in women's athletics and women's coaching. And then sure enough, I become a dad, a girl dad, and what's my daughter want to do? She wants to play softball. She gets in the softball world, and that was an amazing thing because when Stephanie and I met, she was still playing college basketball. And I saw the inequities almost immediately. And the story goes, I used to sneak food out of men's training table, football training table, and bring it back to her dorm. So, that's how different it was. She had evening practices, didn't have a chance to eat at dorm. So I would bring food home for her because there was that kind of inequity. Now, as you look at the landscape, is getting closer and closer, but we're not where we need to be. That's why we have Women's Coaching Alliance, because again, we've got to start building this pipeline. We've got to make sure that they are being taught properly, they're learning to do things the right way, because I do think we need to see more women coaching women athletes, but we also need to see the women coaching all the sports. It doesn't have to be just women's sports. It really doesn't. If we're sitting there, we're going to truly hire the best candidate, we got to open up the field so we interview everybody. Okay, that's how I hired Jennifer King when I was in Carolina. Okay, I met her at one of the symposiums that the NFL put on and found out her love and interest and desire to be part of this. And I said, what's your experience? And she said, well, I played the game. I said, wow, really? She said, yes. And she played on women's tackle football team. But she was also a women's basketball coach at a small college right next to our facility. And she used to come watch practice all the time. And I never realized she was there because she was looking over the fence. She was on the outside looking in. And I said, why don't you come to one of our OTA practices and take a look? So she comes, spends some time at practice. She got to talk to the coaches and the players. And so then I had this conversation with her and I said, wow. I said, what you need to do? Why don't you come shadow for the rest of the week? So she spent the rest of the week, but you could see how much she wanted to be there. But you could also see, because she played the sport, her acumen was there. Okay, and people say to me, what's the benefit of girls playing flag football? Steve talked about it. They're learning the game. They're learning the base fundamentals of the game. And that's one of the things that you need to be a good, solid coach, is having an understanding of how to play the game. So now, as Jennifer started to get this background and this experience, I gave her the chance to come in. She spent the summer with us. And then she went out and she coached in one of the spring leagues. Then she got a college coaching job. And then she came back and did another internship for me. Okay? Now you sit there and you look at this resume, and if you change some of those names of the teams that she worked for, all of a sudden you're looking at a resume and go, wow, I'd hire that person. Well, I took the name off it and showed it to some of my guys, and guess what they'd say? I'd give that person a shot, coach. I'd hire her. So I did.